If you charter in Antigua, you'll have the option of sailing north to Barbuda. If your trip is a week or longer, I suggest you make the voyage. In this video, I'll share advice for the passage to Barbuda, as well as some tips for what to do once you're there. First, you have to sail to Barbuda. Fortunately, given the prevailing conditions, it will most likely be a reach from Antigua. Still, start this passage early. The easiest departure is from the northwest corner of Antigua. The northeast corner of Antigua is just as close and allows you to sail further off the wind. Unfortunately, the northeast of Antigua is more hazardous to navigate, especially when the sun is low early in the morning. Sunsail didn't give us many options as to where to anchor in Barbuda. While we were in Barbuda, there were 2-meter swells out of the northwest, so anchoring off Cocoa Point was the obvious choice. You'll want to time your arrival to Barbuda for midday when the sun is overhead. It's about a 30 nautical mile trip. The sail to Barbuda was a lovely reach, quite a contrast to our first day sailing a cruising catamaran. During our first day, we had watched another charter limp back on our way out into 30 knots of wind, dealt with a malfunctioning depth alarm, and finished the day with anchoring troubles. We definitely jumped into the deep end, even though our depth sounder kept insisting we were in 3 feet of water. During the sail to Barbuda, everyone got a welcome chance to relax. Novices could give the helm a try or just take it easy on the bow and enjoy the ride. The paper charts, the Navionics app I downloaded onto my phone, and the chart plotter on our catamaran all had the same lines indicating the recommended approaches to Barbuda's anchorages. Even though we followed those lines, we kept the crew on deck watching for obstructions in the water. Beware of dark patches of water. Moving dark patches of water, however, aren't obstructions. They're shadows of clouds. We learned that the hard way. Snorkeling around during our trip made me even more weary of coral. Coral can grow inches from the surface when it's surrounded by 20 feet of water. The swell was very gentle in the anchorage, but it made the beach a hazardous place for dinghies. Those same waves crashing onto the beach filled the water with silica, making it a radiant blue-green, but there was no visibility for swimming. I suggest spending a day at anchor in Barbuda and heading inland. The cruising guide provided information for arranging transportation ashore and suggested using a cell phone. We managed to get a hold of George Jeffrey using our VHF. If there is a swell running, be cautious when landing your dinghy. The sinkhole is a must-see, and it's a great opportunity to stretch your legs. Most of Barbuda is quite desert-like, but descending into the sinkhole you wander into a jungle. Our driver wasn't familiar with the trails leading into the sinkhole, but he found a guide on the drive over. On the side of the road, carrying a machete, the islands are a different world. I recommend bringing sturdy footwear, though Janet demonstrated the sinkhole can be managed in flip-flops. The other attraction our group really enjoyed was the Frigate Bird Sanctuary. The ride out is fun, and the guide was entertaining. George Jeffrey was mentioned prominently in the cruising guide, and we found him to be an excellent guide. The best snorkeling nearby was in Gravener's Bay. At first we tried to walk around the beach to Cocoa Point and found it impassable after a while. Then we walked inland, bypassing Cocoa Point. I wouldn't recommend this either. You try to navigate barely recognizable roads through a smelly, swampy desert. The barbed wire really makes one feel welcome, and the extensive sea urchin-filled shallows before you reach water deep enough to snorkel in is discouraging. Before you leave the charter base, make sure your dinghy's fuel tank is full and dinghy around Cocoa Point into Gravener's Bay. If you make it, keep an eye out for the sea turtles. When you're not busy exploring, snorkeling, or kiteboarding, enjoy the beautiful anchorage. The gentle swell at anchor made falling asleep very easy. Now you're more informed about cruising to Barbuda, and if you go, I hope these tips help you have a great time. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.